7, 8. Here we go. Good Tuesday evening to you. Glad to have you along. Welcome in the campus of Winnebago Lutheran Academy. Glad to be back. On the call here, boys basketball, Flyway Conference, WLA Campbellsport. Getting after it. Campbellsport comes into tonight's contest tied in a three-way tie for second place in the Flyway Conference. Everyone chasing a top 5 team in the state. Haven't looked at the latest weekly rankings. Springs was the top team in the state. They lost over the Christmas holiday in a game against St. Mary's Catholic, a game that, talking to Coach Nell earlier this season, just talking about the scope in the landscape of the Flyway Conference, he's like, I'll tell you what, when Springs plays St. Mary's Catholic, that's going to be one. St. Mary's from up in Menasha, talking about them. He's like, that's going to be one where I think Springs may have some trouble, and they're going to have to play a really good game to win. Springs played a good game. That was a nip-tuck game all the way through, and Springs came out on the short end of it. A couple of weeks ago, before the Christmas break, Springs came here to WLA and took care of the Vikings. It was a close game, but Springs undefeated, 4-0, top of the Flyway, and Campbellsport in the log jam for second with Amro and Mayville. Amro and Mayville and Campbellsport all 3-1. However, Campbellsport has not yet played Springs. They lost. Their loss is to Amro, and that was the last game out for Campbellsport, 62-59 in their last conference game against the Foxes. WLA, meanwhile, coming off of a 74-72 loss at Mayville that came last week, and the Vikings trying to bounce back, find their first conference win. They're 0-4 in the Flyway Conference, just 2-8 on the season, riding a 2-game losing streak as well. So WLA trying to get things settled down, get things aligned, and finally find the win column. They've played well over the last 4 games. However, they've lost 3 of those 4. Played, of course, the top team in the state at the time, St. Mary's Springs. And then their other loss outside of the Mayville game, where they played well, not well enough to win. The other loss was to Kohler, who had a couple of guys out with injury, got them back for the WLA game, and hung 92 points on the Vikings in that one. So a high-scoring affair, but WLA was with them the majority of that game, 92-84. The final, that one between the Blue Bombers and the Vikings. So all of that to set up a game that on paper would skew heavily towards the Campbellsport Cougars, and it's really not a recipe that would signal success for the Vikings either. Campbellsport with a couple of 6'5" big men, Mitch McCarty and Jordan Ebert. Now, McCarty, you recognize that name if you're a football fan. Big 6'5" quarterback for Campbellsport. Had another nice year on the gridiron, and he is having a potential Flyway Player of the Year type of season. Obviously, there's multiple guys at Springs you could pick for that. Noah Gensler and Sam Lair having nice seasons for the Vikings, as is Addison Middlestat for Mayville. But how about this for a stat line on a per-game average for Mitch McCarty? 20.9 points per game. That's tied with Middlestat for best in the Flyway Conference, and he averages a league-best 13.4 rebounds per game. So we haven't seen numbers like this outside of Ethan Cole. You know, Cole last year was the runaway Flyway Conference Player of the Year, and he averaged about 24, 25 points and about 12, 13, 14 rebounds over the course of last season. McCarty's not doing quite that much, but he is having a whale of a season for the Campbellsport Cougars, 21 and 13 and a half on a per-game basis. That is a nice stat line, and Jordan Eberts isn't bad either, 13 and 5 for him, and both those guys average a couple of assists per game as well. For the Vikings, led by Noah Gensler, he is third in the conference behind Middlestat and McCarty at just about an 18-point per game clip. He's at 17.9. Sam Lair, he ranks fifth after a slow start to the season. Sam, really since the inclusion of Gannon Schwartz into the starting lineup, the freshman for the Vikings, I think you've seen Sam Lair's production go up. His efficiency certainly has gone up. compared to early on in the season, that three-point percentage is starting to make a little bit of a bounce back. Talking about Sam Lair, 17.6 points per game for Sam. That's 5th in the flyweight. Noah Walta still averages about 12 a game. That was higher, up around that 14, 15 points per game mark, but he's been asked to take a little bit of a step back. And, looking at some of the averages, I think Noah Walta, the Vikings should really try to get him some more shots. And, again, I'd never try to tell coaches Nell or Schwartz what to do. But I'll tell you what, Noah Walta is shooting at 49% from the field, 91% from the line, and 42% from three. That's a guy you got to get more shots to. Maybe he doesn't sustain that on a larger sample size, but my goodness, he is shooting very, very proficiently from the field and very, very proficiently dangerous from the three-point line. You got to get that guy some more shots. Gannon Schwartz, 8.8 points per game. As a freshman, he runs the show. He's the point guard, averages 4 assists per game. That's good for 4th in the Flyway Conference. Chop Simmons averages 4 points, and then a handful for Max Huntsman, Cole Wiedemeyer, and Andy Simon. Those are really the players of consequence that you're going to hear tonight, mostly for the Vikings. Just a regular, the rest of the look at the Flyway Conference. Springs, as I mentioned, 4-0. Campbellsport, Umbro, Mayville, all 3-1. Lamira, the lone team, at 2-2 in the Flyway. Laconia is 1-3. Their lone win coming against WLA. North Fond du Lac 0-4. WLA 0-4 in the Flyway Conference. WLA's conference losses: Laconia, Mayville, Umbro, Springs. So they roll out their finish things up. Campbellsport tonight, North Fond du Lac Friday, and then next week finish things out on the first time around with Lamira. That's coming up for the Vikings. So hope you'll stay with us. Vikings, clash of styles here. Vikings average 71.2 points per game, and Campbellsport averages just 57.2. So a clash of styles. If Campbellsport can keep the scoring low, they're going to feel like they have a real shot against the Vikings. If the Vikings can get out in a track meet, I think they would take that. We'll see which War of the Wills, so to speak, comes out on top here. Hope you stay with us throughout the night. Glad to have you along. It is Flyway Conference Basketball, WLA TV. Stay with us.
Winnebago Lutheran Academy welcomes you to this evening's Flyway Conference basketball game between the Cougars of Campbellsport and the Vikings of Winnebago Lutheran Academy. Winnebago Lutheran Academy, Campbellsport High School, and the WIAA require good sportsmanship and education-based sporting events. Attendance at interscholastic activities is a privilege with the expectation to exhibit positive and respectful behavior. For the enjoyment and respect of all in attendance, your cooperation in demonstrating the high ideals of sportsmanship is expected and greatly appreciated. Ladies and gentlemen, at this time we ask that you please stand, remove your hats, and join us in honoring America and those who protect it with the playing of our national anthem by the WLA Pep Band under the direction of Mrs. Abigail Frith. It's time to meet the starting lineups for this evening's game. First, for the Cougars, a 5'9" senior, number 3, Brady Lair. A 6'5" senior, number 11, Mitchell McCarty. A 6'5" senior, number 12, Jordan Ebert. A 5'11" senior, number 13, Cole Kane. And a 6'1" senior, number 24, Aiden Fleischman. The Cougars are coached by Ethan Elliott.
There you go. That's the starting lineup for the Cougars. And just about to get the starters for the Vikings as well. I'll remind you of those names you just heard for the Cougars. Number 3, Brady Lair, is a 5'9" senior. Mitchell McCarty, 6'5" senior. Number 11, Jordan Ebert is number 12, 6'5" senior as well. The 4th senior in the starting lineup is number 13, Cole Caney. And rounding out the all-senior laden starting 5, number 24, Aiden Fleischman. You go to the Vikings side of things and scarce to find a senior in their starting lineup. They have one of them. It's 32, Noah Walta, 6-foot senior for the Vikings. Chop Simmons wears number 20. He's a 5'11 junior and leads the team in rebounding, 3rd in the conference. Sam Lair and Noah Gensler are the 2 juniors for the Vikings that have played since their freshman year. 5'10 junior Sam Lair, guard, and a 6'2 forward junior Noah Gensler. And rounding out the starting lineup, number 2, 5'9 freshman. He's small, but he plays with a big personality, and that's Gannon Schwartz for the Vikings. And sky's the limit for Gannon Schwartz over the course of his WLA career that is just getting going. McCarty's going to win the tip here, tip it to his buddy in the front court, Ebert. And they'll hand off to Caney, and they'll get things going here in the road yellows. I think they're sharp-looking uniforms. And by the way, much easier to read than their football uniforms, which were white with yellow numbers. That is a nightmare for a broadcaster. Here's a triple. That attempt misses from Ebert early. Rebound from Simmons, shovels it to Gannon Schwartz. Gannon straight up the court. Gives it to Simmons. Good ball movement. Ends up with Lair. Corner 3 on the way for Noah Walta. He hit it. Noah Walta, who talked about it in the pregame, shoots 42% from 3. And he's the guy you want to get a few more shots for him. And a good start here for the Vikings. They lead at 3-0. They're going to be in a zone here to start. Down to the corner, this is Lair. Top of the key, Ebert. Throws it over to Caney. Lair's going to go all the way through. Just run that baseline behind the zone, see if he can find any gaps within it. Here's a long 2, but made from the short corner, Aiden Fleischman. He's got his night started, and Campbellsport is on the board 3-2. Full court press Man-to-man, Gannon Schwartz doesn't need much help getting past Lair in the backcourt, but his pass attempt to Chop Simmons was batted away. Nice play by Mitchell McCarty underneath to force the turnover. This is Ebert between the circles initiating things for Campbellsport. Nice bounce pass down to Lair. He finds Fleischman once again, same spot in the short corner. Out top of the key, Caney between the circles resets, tipped away by Walton. It'll stay with the Cougars, although Coach Nell was right behind that and he didn't see a touch, so he was hoping referee also did not see a touch, but nothing doing there. Stays with Campbellsport. Looked like it was touch, but I have an impossible angle to be able to judge that as well. Here's Brady Lair. Bounces down to Fleischman. Good ball movement, ends up with Ebert. Ebert drives the lane. Floater in the middle of the lane. Can't get it to go. That's tipped out, goes back to the Vikings. Nice job by Walter to crash the board. Didn't allow Aiden Fleischman to get the offensive rebound. And Campbellsport's going to stay in the full court press, and Vikings are going to break it easily with a launched pass down to Noah Walta. He was in the front court. Schwartz looks to the corner. Hands off to Gensler there. Good cross-court pass. Same spot. Noah Walta, same result. 3 ball, good. 2 for 2 from 3. Both of them coming from the left corner. And the Vikings lead at 6-2. Good start for WLA. Near side, Caney. Down to the corner, Lair with the shot fake. He hasn't taken one of those threes yet. Good cut, McCarty. And he's found on a nice pass from Fleischman. So Mitchell McCarty's got his night underway after a couple of possessions. That was a beautiful pass from Fleischman. Got into that short corner once again. McCarty made a smart cut diagonally across the lane to the other block, and it was a sweet finish by him. Here's Sam Lair, left wing 3 on the way. This is good. Vikings reining in threes here early, and it's 9-4. First points of the night for Sam. Averages, as I mentioned pregame, 17.6 points per game. Here's Ebert. He wants to get into the show. He hit it. What a shot by Ebert. Stepped into it confidently, and Jordan Ebert's got his first points of the night. So back and forth these two teams go. It's 9-7. Schwartz into the front court. He's fouled. No whistle. I mean, that's as physical as you're going to allow a team to get. Noah Walter drug the pivot foot. No blood, no foul. Hey, I'm all right with that. We've seen some games recently where the whistles have been a little too frequent, so that's all right. Schwartz just about got ridden to the floor there from Lair. So instead, coming back the other way, this is Ebert, finds Lair in the corner. They're going to continue to run Lair on the baseline, and then either Fleischman or McCarty is going to check to that short corner. That's a dangerous pass, and Caney got a little bit too greedy there, trying to get an easy dump down underneath. He had McCarty underneath if he could have gotten that pass through, but a dangerous pass picked off. Here's Lair, floats and hits. Nice shot and a good take from Sam Lair. I don't think it's any coincidence that since Gannon Schwartz has taken over the point guard duties, Lair has once again become a more efficient player. Doesn't have to exert as much energy just breaking presses and running the show for the Vikings. That's off the back of the backboard from McCarty, and the Vikings have forced another turnover. Good start defensively for the Vikes, and look, a zone isn't always the most attractive way to play the game of basketball, but it's working here early for the Vikes. They stayed in it pretty much the entire game against Springs, and you saw why. Here's Schwartz up with the shot. Are they going to say that's on the floor? I mean, it should be, well, they're going to say it was on the floor. So Lair picks up his first personal foul. And, well, if they were going to call that, they could have called it about 4 more times this game, but that's all right. Here's Walta. Walta crosses once, finds Gensler. Gensler top of the key. Nice pass to a cutting Chop Simmons, and Chop's fouled. That was a beautiful cut to the hoop by Chop, and knifing through the paint, Gensler was unselfish. That's a good play by Noah. You know, earlier in the season, we might have seen him kind of wildly throwing up off the glass there, but it's all part of the continued maturity of this team for the Vikings. That is a young team. 2 juniors. Check that, 3 juniors, a senior, and a freshman in the starting lineup. And so far, the first 2 players off the bench this season have been Andy Simon, sophomore, and Max Huntsman, who's a sophomore. So a lot of youth on this team. Here's Noah Waltz, same spot. This one comes up short. So he's 2 for 3 from the 3-point area down there in the left corner, but the Vikes still lead by 5, 12-7. This is Pickering, who's into the ball game for his first action here tonight. He's going to get it down underneath to Fleischman. Fleischman turns back out to Pickering now on the right wing. Check that left wing. And Ebert's now got it between the circles. Gensler doing a nice job to match up with McCarty. Now passes him off to Chop Simmons. And Chop's going to have his hands full. But he does a nice job to half front him. Now, what are the Vikings going to do with McCarty catching on the block? They double him. He goes to the middle of the paint and forces contact, heads to the free throw line. Simmons didn't like it. Nell didn't like it. Did look like McCarty should know the name of perhaps the best player in the conference. But McCarty did create that contact. That's what good players do, and puts you under a lot of pressure defensively and really puts the officials under pressure as well to make a call. And a nice take there from McCarty, and he's rewarded with one free throw. Second free throw comes up a little bit short, but he's got 3 here early on. This is Walta, gives it to Schwartz. Gannon fires one up and misses, and then a foul. And Chop Simmons will head to the free throw line for the second time tonight. Not sure who they're going to tag this one on. They're going to say that Pickering picked up a foul, his first personal foul, underneath on Simmons. So it was not a shooting foul. They're going to say a little too physical down on the hips and on the body on the floor. So here's Gannon Schwartz, middle of the paint. Nice find Simmons. Simmons short corner. And a violation. Gannon Schwartz ran out of bounds. Okay. So Schwartz was trying to fight through some physical contact underneath and went out of bounds in the process, and there you go. Ball's back over to Campbellsport. If you have that on your bingo card, congratulations. That's the only time in your life you'll check that one off. Refs just don't call that. But if we're going to get a little ticky-tack here early on, that's how we're going to go. There's Caney. Shot fake. Ebert, he wants his second triple of the night. This one is deep. Tipped around. Caney got the last touch on it, and it goes back to the Vikings. Tell you what, these Cougars are tough to keep off of the defensive glass, and they go at it with some ferociousness. McCarty, Ebert, Caney, Fleischman. Fun to watch these guys play. Truly is. A lot like Springs. Springs is, obviously you want your team to win, but Springs is a treat to watch play this season. Here is Noah Walta. Cues up another corner 3 from the left wing. Offensive rebound to Gensler. Kicks it out. Gannon Schwartz for a shot from 3. This misses. Rebound fought for. And Gensler's on the floor. Good hustle from him. And he's going to pick up a foul as Caney came away with it. And Gensler got his hand caught in the cookie jar, so to speak. Just the first one on Noah. Second team foul for the Vikings in what has been a good start here early on. 12-8. Early scenes, first 6 minutes or so here in the contest, but the Vikings would say this is the game they want to try to play, where it's a little bit more high scoring, a little bit more out of control, get out in transition. That's how the Vikings want to play. Campbellsport, not the most efficient team, but they're going to get second chances. Here's Gannon Schwartz on a steal. Can he get to the paint? And a lot of contact, no whistle. Gannon Schwartz was just about shoved into the pads there, and no whistle forthcoming. Andy Simon's going to check in for Gannon Schwartz, so that should push Sam Lair to the point guard position for the Vikings. My goodness, that was a very physical play. Here's a Noah Gensler. Offensive rebound. Simon poked away. Nice hands. Good play. I think that was McCarty underneath. If it wasn't, it was Caney. And a terrific play underneath to get his hands on Andy Simon. That was not a foul. That was as clean as it gets. Here is Pickering in the corner, kicks it back out of bounds, and going back the other way for the Vikings as Fleischman stepped out of bounds, trying to cut back towards the middle of the court. So 11:03 to play first half. Lair is the point guard in this kind of a 1-3-1 look here from Campbellsport. Bounces near side. Simon with the shot fake. And Lair's going to save this one from over and back, but it's going to be tied up, I do believe. And, thought it was a tie-up. Instead, they're going to whistle Fleischman for a kick there. So, say Fleischman got control of it because of his foot. Interesting. A lot of interesting whistles here. Whistles you don't generally get, and some calls that are just a little bit weird here early on. Gensler scores underneath for the Vikings, and it forces a timeout from Coach Ethan Elliott. We're going to take that timeout with him, come back with more. Vikings have an early 6-point lead, 14-8 on WLA TV. Stay with us. So coming out of the timeout here, Vikings lead at 14-8. 4 different Vikes have scored so far. Sam Laird, Noah Waltz, Chop Simmons, Noah Gensler. 4 of the top 5 scorers for the Vikings. The only starter that has not scored is Gannon Schwartz. He's currently out of the ball game. Andy Simon, 6th man for the Vikes, comes off the bench for him. 3 different Cougars have scored, McCarty, Ebert, and Fleischman. 3 of the top 4 scorers for Campbellsport. Caney hasn't gotten going yet. He hasn't found really any opportunities to get a high-quality look. Here goes McCarty, and you could tell straight out of the timeout, count the basket and the foul. Nice take from Mitchell McCarty. There was a concerted effort there from Coach Elliott out of the timeout. There was 2 passes straight into McCarty, and he turned, put his head down, and kind of bull in the china shop type of deal there. He just went to work and finished at the rim. Misses his and one opportunity, so he's 1 for 3 from the free throw line, but that's about the only hole you can poke in his game at this point. He is just a 55% free throw shooter. Here's a triple, Sam Lair. He's got his second of the night. Lair's got 8 to lead the Vikings, and the lead back up to 7. Shouldn't say back up to. This is the largest lead of the night now for the Vikings, 17-10. McCarty catches at the high post, spins against Simmons. Nice floater, and can't get it to go. Simmons made him fall away from the hoop, and I think that's why that came up short. Here's Lair. Now, still like a 1-3-1 look here. Ends up with Simon in the corner. That is deep, and the Vikings come away empty on that possession. Haven't been able to get Gensler open from three-point range. He's the Vikings' second-best three-point shooter at 34.6% from back there. But he's asked to do some of the work against McCarty. That time he pokes it away, goes to Lair. Here's Noah Walter running the floor. He's tripped and will go to the free throw line, I do believe. Say that's a shooting foul. Looks good from up here. And Walter heads to the charity stripe. Caney, his first. Looked incidental. You got to call it there, as Walter was clearly affected on his shot. 4th team foul for Campbellsport. Walter's first one cozies its way on down. Vikings now 2 for 3 from the free throw line. Max Huntsman comes in for Noah Gensler, and I think Gensler's just getting a word there from Coach Nell saying, hey, you got 2. We need you against McCarty tonight, so just be patient with me here. 18-10, 8-point lead for the Vikings about halfway through this first half, 9:12 to go. Caney initiates. Ebert's got it between the circles. Out here to Pickering, back to Caney. Shot fake there for the senior. Back out to Pickering. Pickering's a 6'1 junior for Campbellsport. Has it back to Ebert, who gives it to Caney, and the point guard resets. Trying to get it to McCarty. McCarty's going to get a touch here. No, Pickering's going to fire up a 3, and got it. Good shot from Ethan Pickering. His first points of the night cut this thing down to a 5-point Viking lead as these teams go back and forth. Again, I think the Vikings a little bit more comfortable in a high-scoring back-and-forth affair, but we'll see. This is Sam Lair, rolls around and out, offensive rebound, Max Huntsman. You'd like the 3, but if you can't get it, there you go. Dominate the team that's so good rebounding. Dominate them on their own offensive glass. Nice shot there by Lair, and a good rebound from Huntsman. Here goes Lair in transition, can't get it to go. Nice defense, good hustle. Ebert to force that, make that a tough layup opportunity for Sam Lair. Ebert almost stepped into one. Now gets it far side. Fleischman, 3-ball, got it. Aiden Fleischman has 5 points tonight, and just like that, Campbellsport's cut this down to a 4-point Viking lead. Here goes Lair down the lane, fires to Huntsman. Max down the lane he goes, almost poked away by Caney. Cuts it back out, Sam Lair, floater middle paint, good. Those were all coming up short early in the year for Sam Lair, not anymore. He's got a quick 10. First player of the night for either team into double figures, and the Vikings lead back to 6. 7 is the largest of this first half for the Vikings. Pickering, another shot from 3, buried it. Ethan Pickering hits a triple, and that's 3 straight possessions that the Campbellsport Cougars get 3 on, and they erase a 7-point deficit down to 3. Just like that in a blink of an eye. Here's Walta, curls around a screen. Back out top of the key to Lair, Chop Simmons in the corner. Chop with a couple of dribbles, ends up with Walta. Walta gets to his spot, kicks it to Huntsman in the corner. Max has got to find a way to get down on that block. Now he clears out. Lair goes down the paint. Simon, Walta, left wing 3. Can't get it to go. Good rebound skied for by Ethan Pickering, who just got done hitting a couple of threes. Now clears this possession for the Cougars defensively, and they'll have a chance with a 3-ball to tie it. Can they go 4 straight possessions from deep and hit some threes? Here's Ebert. Vikings staying in the zone. I think they're going to be committed to this. Pickering's feeling it. This one is a heat check. Rolls around, no, won't go. Looked like it was going to fall off the backside of the rim and go down. It does not. And Coach Nell wants a 30-second timeout, see if they can't fix something there on that zone. I think they're going to be patient with that, and I do think that's probably the right decision for the Vikings. Is they're going to have a tough time matching up one-on-one with Mitchell McCarty, Jordan Ebert, and the likes of this Campbellsport Cougar offense. And I got to believe that's got to be part of the reasoning that you sit back in a zone, because we saw this against Springs as well, where the Vikings tried a couple-minute stretch to match up man-to-man on Springs, and it just did not work. And they went back to the zone and frustrated the Ledgers to a certain extent in that game before coming up just short. So I don't think the reining in of the threes, there's 4 3-pointers made now for both teams. 2 for Walta and 2 for Lair for the Vikings. Ethan Pickering has 2, Fleischman hit 1, and then Ebert hit 1 very early in the game. So 4 3-pointers for both of these teams early on in this ball game. Schwartz has that pass picked off, trying to find Huntsman underneath. It was stolen by Luke Pendowski, who's into the game for his first action of the first half. And he's going to run baseline now with Pickering as well. Pickering's got it here. And a skip pass to Fleischman, who gets it down to Pendowski, and he traveled. Picked up and drug the pivot foot. That's a good call on the far side. Pendowski, as they say so often, the feet were moving a little bit, or what is it? The feet were moving quicker than the brain was? Whatever it is. Feet were moving quicker than the hands, that's for sure. That second foot came off the floor before he could get the basketball put onto the floor. Here's Gannon Schwartz. Looks far side Lair. Good ball movement. Simmons down to Simon. That is beautiful from the Vikings. Count the basket. And the foul for Andy Simon. Chance for a 3-point play. Vikes back to a 5-point lead. And could be a 6-point lead if Simon finishes this. Oh, that was beautiful. Skip pass from Schwartz to Lair to Simmons. Bounce pass to Simon. And 3 points later, the Vikes have a 6-point lead, 25-19, 5:37 to go first half. Ebert almost telegraphed that one to Lair, but Fleischman did a nice job, Ebert did a nice job to hold back on the pass. Here's McCarty, doubled up by the Vikings. It's Gensler and Simon. They're going to leave guys open if they're going to double down like that, and I think they know that. They're perfectly content doing that. High post, trying to get it to McCarty once again. The Vikings doing a nice job, notably Noah Gensler. And Gensler's got to be a little bit careful because he has 2 fouls. Down here to the corner. This is a 3 for Ebert. Can't get it to go. McCarty, offensive rebound, and Coach Nell wants to know why his player's laying on the floor. Finish from McCarty underneath. Mitchell McCarty has 7. Didn't see anything. You'd have to rewind and tell me if there was any illegal contact there. It just kind of looked like McCarty just eased Simon out of the way. 3-ball from Gannon Schwartz comes up short and headed back the other way. Good rebound from McCarty, who averages 13 of them per game. Ebert, skip pass picked off. Andy Simon into a passing lane, and he's going up forward. Here's Lair in the corner, shot fake. Hopefully Gannon Schwartz doesn't stop shooting. He's gotten a couple of open looks now and has pulled him down. Can't get that floater to go. Schwartz, I don't count missed shots, but that's at least his 5th miss here of the night. He's got to stay aggressive for the Vikings from that point guard spot. Here's Fleischman down to Pendowski, who gives it to McCarty. McCarthy tries to go baseline, splits the 2 defenders. That is so good from Mitchell McCarty. Went to the baseline, felt the second defender come, just stepped between both of them, and got a couple more points. He's up to 9 points. Lair leads all scorers with 10. Here is Sam Lair. Down the lane he goes, up with the floater, comes up short, tipped from Simmons. McCarty, collects for Campbellsport, who's got a chance to tie or take the lead on this possession. I don't believe, unless it was very early, I don't believe Campbellsport has led tonight. A couple of ties early on in the ball game. I could be wrong there. Usually my notes are pretty good, but I don't have them for a lead early on. Here's Simon. Bounce pass to Chop Simmons. Chop can't finish. Offensive rebound, and McCarty erases that one and collects the rebound. That was a terrific play by the 6'5 senior. Talking about McCarty. 6'5 senior could describe both he or Ebert, but Ebert more of a wing guard kind of mold. And McCarty is very much a old-style big man. Get to the block and finish with strength. Oh, this is an interesting shot from Fleischman and tipped out and out of bounds. Yes, you bet. Jordan Ebert was standing out of bounds. Decent opportunity there from Aiden Fleischman. But a little bit off balance, maybe one that they could have found maybe a better shot than that. But it was close to going down. Fleischman's got 5 of the 23 so far tonight. He averages 7.7 points per game, so well on track for that. Actually on track to pass that here tonight. Here's Noah Gensler. Gensler to Gannon Schwartz. Schwartz to the middle of the paint. Up with that floater. There it is. Signature floater from Gannon Schwartz. That's going to be one that I think people in the Flyway are going to be sick of seeing 3 years from now as Gannon Schwartz continues to develop. But nice take there. Lead back out to 4. This is Lair, who's back into the game for Campbellsport. Finds Fleischman, far side Caney. Caney now has it between the circles, looks to Pickering, who's had a big impact on this first half on both ends of the floor. Hit a couple of threes and made a couple of big defensive plays as well. Caney wants a triple. This one a little bit out of rhythm, and it clunks off the back side of the backboard, or of the rim, excuse me. And Gannon Schwartz wants more. Middle of the paint, down to Simmons. Simon. Back to Chop. Chop in the short corner. Shovels it out to Lair. Left wing. Couple of jab steps. Now goes middle of the paint. Erased again, McCarty. Good ball movement and good job by Gensler to keep that possession alive. Gannon Schwartz going to go to the free throw line. He was bumped. And I think that once again is Lair. Yeah, Brady Lair. And that's his 3rd. So Coach Elliott trusting Lair with just 3 or 4 minutes left in the half. And Gannon Schwartz went right at him with the 2 fouls. Lair's going to have to go back to the bench for the remainder of this first half, you would assume, as Schwartz hits the front end of this 2-shot trip. Noah Walta back in the first action tonight for Cole Wiedmeyer for the Vikings, as they want to. Coach Nell doesn't pretty much ever have Lair and Gensler off the court at the same time, so now it's Gensler's turn. And I think Coach Nell also wants to protect Gensler after just seeing Lair pick up his 3rd foul for the Cougars. Doesn't want Gensler to pick up his 3rd, and he knows he's got to work on McCarty. McCarty was fouled there, no whistle underneath. And down the lane goes Gannon Schwartz, and Schwartz finishes. Nice, strong finish by the freshman. Just like that, I talked about how Gannon missed his first 5 shots at least, and he's now got 6 points, McCarty. And the Vikings continue to be physical with Mitchell McCarty. Poked away from behind, and Smith, it's recovered in the corner. Nice hustle there by Caney. Down the lane goes Pickering, and he's fouled. Count the basket. Chop Simmons thought he was straight up and down, but no They couldn't get the luck there as Pickering got. I'll tell you what. There you go. I know that's frustrating for Coach Nell because it absolutely was not a foul on Chop Simmons, but they got away with one on the previous possession. Look, I know you're not supposed to, and refs don't do makeup calls. It's not what that's not a part of the game. Free throw missed from Pickering anyway, so it really doesn't make that big of a difference, other than Chop Simmons picks up his second foul, which isn't unnoteworthy either. So the Vikings lead was 8 at its biggest now. Here's Walta from 3. Missed that one. Strong on the last couple was Noah Walta. 31-25, 6-point lead for the Vikings. Campbellsport trots into the front court with Caney. Campbellsport coming off their first loss this year. Vikings trying to find their first conference win on the other side of that coin. Here goes Ebert. Viking fans wanted to travel, but Ebert kept that second pivot foot down, at least in the summation of the referees. 22 seconds left in the first half. 4-point Viking lead. Walta gives it to Schwartz. And Gannon Schwartz mishandled, but collects. Here's Walta once again. Right wing for Sam Lair. 12 seconds left. Vikings want one shot. My guess is it'll come from Lair. Gets to the middle of the paint. Now he's in trouble. Finds Schwartz. Gannon Schwartz around the screen. 1 second left. Dribbled it off his own foot. At the buzzer. Comes up short for Ethan Pickering. Vikings do not get a shot at the buzzer. Couple of missed dribbles and missed passes there. And the Vikings will take a 31-27 lead into the halftime locker room. Not a bad half from the Vikings. They lead the second place team in the Flyway Conference here, 31-27 at halftime. We'll come back in a couple of minutes, give you first half scores and statistics. All of that coming up next. Hope you'll stay with us here on WLA TV. Back here's WLA TV. Glad to have you along. WLA versus Campbellsport tonight. Flyway Conference matchup between the Vikings and the Cougars. Glad to have you along. First half score, 31-27. Vikings have a lead. How about that? Elsewhere in the Flyway Conference, I got my trusty reporter. He's more valuable than a reporter is. John Supernan out there, Coach Supernan. Looks like he's over at Springs and sent me an image with 1:37 left in the first half. Springs 48, Mayville 30. So Springs well in control up on the ledge against Mayville. And I know he's got some connections to the Mayville program. Coach Jans down there who does just a terrific job with that team. And Mayville's no slouch this year. Probably took a little bit of a step back in the scope of the Flyway Conference, kind of a middling team sort of this year. But I say that they're 3-1 here early on, and doing a nice job in the Flyway Conference. But look, Springs is the team to beat. We all knew that before the season, and that is absolutely coming to fruition here in the Flyway. So there you go. That's across town. Just talking about Coach Supernan, he's with the girls program. Last night, a big milestone. If you don't tune into the girls' games, Kira Shea hit the 1,000-point mark last night. Scored her 1,000th point. She now sits at 1,009 points. She's second all-time in program history. She won't be first all-time unless she averages like 70 points the rest of the way. But Steph Schmitz-Yankee has some ridiculous numbers. The WBCA Hall of Famer. From WLA in the mid-90s. But Kira Shea, once again, hats off to her and an unbelievable career that she is hoping the Vikings can maybe go on a run here second half of the season, maybe push Laconia for the conference title and then make some noise in the postseason. But the 1,000-point plateau is no joke. And it's happened more times on the boys' side than it has on the girls' side, just the second girls player to do that, but just phenomenal. Hoping to have a conversation with her tomorrow, and we'll air that tomorrow either pregame or halftime. We'll air it Thursday at either pregame or halftime of the girls game against Oakfield, and we'll post that on WLA TV as well when we get to sit down and have a conversation with Kira about her career and someone that doesn't like the spotlight, but she deserves all of it after hitting the 1,000-point marker. Right here in this game, 31-27, first half stats added up. We'll start with the Cougars. 5 points apiece for both Jordan Ebert and Aiden Fleischman. 8 points for Ethan Pickering off the bench, and Pickering averages 3 points per game. He's up at 8 already in the first half. Mitchell McCarty well on his way to another 20-point night. He's got 9 here in this first half, but he had a couple of possessions there and opportunities that went a begging. So he's getting the opportunities. He's going to have the chances to have a 20-point game, and he's a pretty efficient player underneath with that strength at 6'5". Over on the Vikings side, Noah Gensler, a quiet half for him. He had just 2 points, 1 for Chop Simmons coming from the free throw line. Max Huntsman had 2 as well for the Vikings. 3 for Andy Simon, 6 for Gannon Schwartz, all coming a flurry in about 4 possessions. He got 6 points. 7 for Noah Walta, and then 10 for Sam Lair to lead all scorers there in that first half, and he leads it for the Vikings as well. 31-27, Vikings lead Campbellsport. Take another couple of minutes, and we'll get ready for the second half with you. Hope you'll stay with us. Cougars, Vikings, WLA TV. Back here, second half of action, about to get started. WLATV, Jordan King with you. Glad to have you along. The girls won last night, by the way. Took care of Marquezan by about 8-10 points, something like that. Everything was was kind of forgotten amongst the occasion of the night, which was Shea hitting the millennium mark, not the century mark. There's Noah Walta, second verse, same as the first. Walta starts the second half with a triple, and he's up to 10 points, tying level with Sam Lair as the game high scorer with the first possession of the second half. Down underneath, McCarty gets his second half underway. Now he's got 11, and he says, leading scorer who? It's him now. Here's Gannon Schwartz. Still a 1-3-1 zone. Kind of looks 2-3-ish at times, but it's a 1-3-1. That misses from Gannon Schwartz. He's not the most proficient three-point shooter. 29.2% for Schwartz from deep. This is Ebert down to McCarty. Concerted effort to get the ball to McCarty. Tied up. Oh, no, they're going to pick up a foul here, and if that's on Gensler, it's a bad call. It is on Noah Gensler, who had his arms straight side by side. If you're going to call that on Lair, that's fine. But that's the third on Noah Gensler, and it was a very weak call. Here on the near side, Fleischman's going to trigger up a three. Strong on that one. Strong rebound, Chop Simmons, far side. Good block out on Pickering, who started here in this second half. He had to, as Brady Lair stays on the bench with those 3 fouls that he picked up in the first half. Meanwhile, 3 fouls for Gensler. He's going to stay out on the floor. Corner 3 for him, and that's a little bit strong. It was dead on the money from Noah Gensler, but that was deep from him. And the rebound cleared out to Caney. Caney's going to work on this Viking zone. Dribble down to the corner, has McCarty, instead goes to Pickering on the left wing. Top of the key, this is Ebert. Ebert near side has Fleischman. Aiden Fleischman. And good ball movement into Ebert, and Ebert's going to float. Can't get it to go. Tipped by McCarty, but he can't corral the rebound on the offensive side of things, and it's cleared out for the Vikings. Nice job by Walta to crash the glass. Here's Chop Simmons. Now Gannon Schwartz. Sam Lair, triple on the way. Looks good, is good. Sam Lair's third 3 of the night. He's got 13. Vikings have what is tied to be their biggest lead of the ball game. It's 8. Pickering wants to respond with a 3 of his own, and he does. Drilled it. Not even close to hitting any of the rim from Pickering. Straight down, and it's back to a 5-point game. Ethan Pickering's up to 11 points. That is a nice, pleasant surprise on the scoring front there for the Cougars. Pickering's been splendid tonight on the offensive side and has done a nice job defensively as well. Here's Sam Lair, 2 straight for him. Yes, sir. Sam Lair is heating up. Careful now. He's got 16, and the Vikes lead back out to 8. Pickering going straight down back to that corner. He's going to shot fake there, jab steps between the leg, and kicks it back out to Caney. That time, Gannon Schwartz was not going to sag off when he made the head fake and allow him to step back and hit another triple. Here's Caney once again. McCarty flashes to the high post. Instead, Pickering down to the corner with Fleischman. The chess match continues as the Vikings stay in their zone that has given Campbellsport a little bit of trouble here tonight. This is Ebert, shot fake. Fleischman, top of the key, rips up a 3, that misses. Rebound from McCarty, and a finish. And a foul as well. As physical as it gets under there have been a couple of and one. Just complete and one, just very ticky-tack stuff. Mitchell McCarty, I mean, you can see him. He's a big physical player, and I mean, that's 3 now on Chop Simmons. Regardless, and I'm not taking anything away from McCarty. He is a terrific player. There's a couple of players from Springs that he may, and obviously Addison Middlestad averaging with the same amount of points, 21 points per game. They're very strong candidates for for player of the year in this conference. But I'd put Mitch McCarty right up with the rest of them. Here goes Noah Walta, and there's a ticky-tack foul the other way. Noah Walta's going to head to the free throw line. So Walt's going to head to the free throw line with his 10 points currently. First free throw looks well short, and it is well short. Viking lead by 5, 14-27. Between the 8-1 Cougars and the 2-8 Vikings. Second free throw good for Walta. I was talking to Coach Nell early this season, and he was talking about 2 years ago when the Vikings really struggled out of the gate. I mean, really struggled out of the gate. And it took some time before they got their first conference win that year as well. And then the second half of the season, a switch just flipped, and they beat teams like Spring. They beat Mayville. That was a kick. Yeah, it was a late whistle, but they got it figured out. And you just wonder if this season might just be the same. You know, they relied heavily on Sam Lair and Noah Gensler that year, who are both freshmen. And they rely fairly heavily on some freshmen and sophomores in this season as well. Oh, man, another one. And Coach Nell is starting to push the line. He's pushing it over there. And that's the first foul on Max Huntsman. Again, very ticky-tack, not a lot of contact there in what has been a very physical game underneath in the paint. If you're going to start calling that, we're going to have a lot of players sitting on the bench, and that's my warning. There's McCarty, who gets shoved out of the paint. No whistle there. Finds Ebert. Nice take, Jordan Ebert. That was as physical a play as we've had this half, and there was no whistle. McCarty got two hands to the back, and there was no whistle forthcoming. Here goes Gannon Schwartz, kicks it to Walta. He's having a nice night from three. It continues. He's got 4 triples tonight. And Noah Walta has 14 points for the Vikings. 16 for Sam Lair. Both of them have hit 4 threes tonight. Lead back out to 7. And the Vikings just continue to push back when the Cougars make a run. That misses from Ebert. He had a little bit of a heat check there from 3. Cross-court pass to Walta. Walta down the lane, up with the right hand. Count the basket and the foul. A big yell from Noah Walta. He goes back to the line. 46-37, the Vikings' largest lead of the night, and it can get to double figures if Walta hits his free throw here. He's 2 for 4 from the free throw line tonight. That was his first 2-point basket of the evening. He's got 16 points, and that comes up short. So the Vikings' lead stays at 9, and the rebound cleared by the Cougars. Caney will initiate the offense with 13:06 to go in the game. Caney crosses once, crosses twice. Now to the corner. Brady Lair is being trusted with a couple of fouls. Pickering throws up a 3. This one misses. Yeah, it looks better from the corner for Pickering, that's for sure. Lair gets the offensive rebound in the corner. Down to McCarty. McCarty steps through once again. Gets on the floor, saves possession for the Cougars. Good ball movement, ends up with Fleischman. Down to Caney, shot fake there. Curls through the lane, takes the contact. Can't get it to go. Offensive rebound, McCarty, and McCarty is tied up. No, they're going to say 2 shots. Oh, that was a jump ball. Oh, well, I'll leave it be. And that's 4 on Chop Simmons. It was not only did they miss the jump ball, they got the wrong guy. It was the foul, if there was a foul, was on Max Huntsman, and they got it on Simmons. I'll let it be. But unfortunately, that's the wrong call. First free throw is good for McCarty. McCarty doesn't need no help down there. Now, come on. Couple of rhythm dribbles from McCarty, and the potential player of the year in the conference sinks both free throws. He's now 4 of 6 from the charity stripe. After struggling early on, he's hit his last 3 from the line. Good job from the senior. Here's Lair on the wing. Dribble drive, shovels it out to Walta. Top of the key. Schwartz is going to put the ball on his hip, reinitiate the offense. Reverse crossover. Goes up. Count the basket. Gannon Schwartz finishes at the rim through the contact, and he'll go to the free throw line. We're going to be shooting bonus free throws here in no time with the frequency of whistles we're getting here in this second half. That misses from Schwartz, his first miss from the line here tonight. And the Vikings lead, though, back out to 9 points. They haven't been able to stretch it to that full 10 double-digit lead. McCarty was free underneath, working on Wiedmeyer. Good help down that time from Schwartz. Does he tie it up? It's a tie-up, so it stays with the Cougars. Gannon Schwartz doubled down there on the block. Got his hand on the ball. Able to skew it free. And then McCarty got on the floor to save the possession for the Cougars with 12:03 to go in the game. And just checking, make sure they get that sweat wiped up there. Especially in that corner, the Cougars have dominated when they've gotten the, just specifically here in the second half, they've gotten the ball down to that left corner and have a lot of success down there. Pickering tried to get free. Here's McCarty. McCarty goes baseline, just clears out Cole Wiedmeyer and finishes. That is such a strong move from Mitchell McCarty. And he is so fun to watch when he gets the ball inside. His footwork is terrific, as you'd expect from a good athlete. You know, you get 6'5", athletes who are just sometimes can't move. And he's, obviously he's a big guy. Big, strong, physical player. But he can move now. He's got that footwork down pat, and he's stepped through a couple of double teams, taking the hits, finished. Pleasure watching him here tonight. He's up to 18 points, which I believe is a game high now. I think I got Walta for a little bit short of that. Maybe 16 for Walta, 16 Lair, 18 for McCarty. And that last McCarty bucket, able to cut this to a 7-point Viking lead. Here's Gannon Schwartz. Got that smooth reverse crossover, does Gannon Schwartz. And Wiedmeyer's in trouble. And they're going to bail him out with a whistle. Ball will go underneath. Fourth team foul for the Cougars. Second personal foul that time for Fleischman as well. He's not in foul trouble at all. The biggest foul trouble out there is Chop Simmons. He's got 4. There's a couple of players on both teams that have 3. Shot fake from Noah Walta, gets into the paint, shovels it through to Max Huntsman, Mitch McCarty. McCarty erases. I got him for 4 blocks up here. I really don't keep that close of a stat, but after those 2 in the first half, I had to keep a running total. I got him for 4 blocks up here. Just absolutely terrific. And an offensive foul. Max Huntsman takes the charge. In the lane went Caney, and it's a frustrating night so far for Cole Caney. He's initiated the whole offense for Campbellsport here tonight, but he has yet to get on the scoring sheet. And for a guy that averages 9.8 points per game, that's got to be got to believe that's a frustrating evening. Here's Cole Wiedmeyer, gets it to Huntsman. Nice shot fake from Max. Kicks it back out to Walta. Walta drives middle of the paint. Floater there. Can't finish. Nice job that time defensively by Brady Lair to just put Walta off enough to force that one off to the side. Cole Wiedmeyer continues to work down underneath against McCarty. If nothing else, you put in someone who can eat up a couple of fouls against McCarty. And McCarty says, get it to the corner to Lair. And Lair with a fake there, gets it to Pickering. Wing 3 misses. Again, Pickering I don't know if he's missed a corner 3, but he has struggled from that wing. Down the lane goes Wiedmeyer. Cole Wiedmeyer's first points of the night. And he finishes strong at the rim with the right hand. And the Viking lead back up to 9, back and forth. These 2 teams, it's been Vikings 9, then back to 7, then 9, then 6, then back to 9. And they get it back to 9 now with Cole Wiedmeyer. 10 minutes and 10 seconds left in the game. Vikings lead at 50-41. McCarty's got it in the corner. 2 Vikings are going to stay there. Skips the pass out top to Fleischman. Finds Lair on the far side. 1-on-1 now for McCarty. On the ground and underneath is where that will go as Huntsman picks up his second foul. And I can't tell if coaches Nell and Schwartz are angry at Huntsman for picking up the foul or if they're wanting a hook there on Mitchell McCarty. And I could see that potentially being something you could ask for. McCarty does use that elbow to gain, but I don't know how much of an advantage he gained doing that on that particular play. There probably were instances where you could have called a hook on him, but I didn't think that was one of them. Here's McCarty in the short corner. Through the contact. Oh, what a soft touch from Mitchell McCarty. He's up at 20. That's his season average, or just short of it. But he's had a nice night tonight. He's got 20 of the 43 for Campbellsport. He averages 21 of their 57 points every game. Here's Sam Laird. Triple, you bet. Sam Laird's got 5 threes tonight. And he's up to 19 points for the Vikings. And finally, the Vikings were able to make that lead a double-digit lead. Coach Nell takes the timeout. Just a 30-second timeout for the Vikings as they've extended this 53-43 on the scoreboard. 5 team fouls for each team. So, again, I think it could get into a situation where this becomes a free throw shooting contest. I'd say probably overall more reliable free throw shooters on the Viking side. There's, of their top 4 free throw shooters, you got 91% for Walta, 76% from Gannon Schwartz, 75 Noah Gensler, and 70% for Sam Lair. The top 5 free throw shooters for Campbellsport, 81 for Caney, 76 for Ebert, 64 for Fleischman, and 55.6%, so 56% for McCarty. Those are the top 5 shooters on their side. Sam Lair's into the passing lane, and he finishes. Sam Lair's got 21, and he passes McCarty for a game high now. And the Viking lead is 12. Here's Ebert, Caney to the corner, Pendowski back into the game, and a travel from Luke Pendowski. And Coach Elliott can only put his hands on his knees and hang his head after that one. That was a possession where the Vikings are starting to gain some momentum. You'd like to get that ball into McCarty, who's already got 20 points. See if he can't go to work, cut into this 12-point deficit. Here goes Gannon Schwartz, straight to the rim, and the finger roll for Gannon Schwartz. He's into double figures. He's got 10. That's a big take from the freshman, and the Viking lead is up to 14. Man, this got to be one of the bigger leads of the season for the Vikings, certainly the biggest in Flyway play. Vikings are 0-4 in the conference, and they lead the 3-1 Campbellsport Cougars. McCarty can't get it to go. Rebound fought for and ends up with Sam Lair. Lair gets it out to Gannon Schwartz. Schwartz bumped. Oh, and he almost finished it at the rim yet again. He has a couple of and ones. Check that, just 1 and 1 tonight. But Gannon will go back to the free throw line where I just mentioned he's a 76% shooter. And a chance here for Gannon to really extend this lead for the Vikings. The first free throw shooter's roll is pure for him. And he's someone, a lot of times you get those small point guards and you look at some of their averages, like a free throw average, for example, and you can't really trust it because they never get to the line. That's not the case with Gannon Schwartz. If you're watching him here tonight, he's now 4 for 5 from the charity stripe. He uses his body well, and he always protects the basketball when he goes to the rim. So he does get fouled a lot when he gets down into the paint with those physical bodies. And it's very easy to knock him around. Vikings 16-point lead. Lair just got a steal. Check that. It was Schwartz who got the steal and the assist up to Sam Lair. Sam Lair's got 23 points, and the Vikings have left Campbellsport in their wake here in this second half. A big run for the Vikings. They couldn't get the ball. They couldn't get that lead out to 10. Now they got it to 18. It is a 10-0 run, 11-0 run for WLA. It was 50-43, and now it's a full timeout, 61-43. We're going to take the timeout with them, catch our breath, and come back with more. Last 7:52 here on WLA TV. When we come back, stay with us. Back here, campus of Winnebago Lutheran Academy. Pleasure to have you along this evening. Jordan King with you here from the broadcaster's perch, we'll call it. Up in the corner of the gymnasium here at WLA. Glad to have you along. Vikings and the Cougars getting after it here, and the Vikings on an 11-0 run over the last couple of minutes. It started here on this defensive end. They haven't let the ball touch the hands of Mitchell McCarty in a couple of trips. Not this time. McCarty, nice pass underneath. Pickering finishes. And Pickering continues just a terrific night, especially by his standards for Campbellsport here tonight. A nice output offensively. He's up to 13 points for the Cougars. Cougars turn Walta over, and they're going to wave it off. They're going to say Pickering took an extra step. Just needed to put it on the floor once. They got out in transition, and that was not a popular call amongst the fans on the far side of the court. They're going to trap once again right across half court. It's dealt with well by Cole Wiedmeyer. Schwartz bounces down to Lair. Lair back out to Gannon Schwartz. Gannon loses control. Got to be careful of the trap there. High post Noah Walta. He's got to deal with McCarty. Gives it out to Lair. Lair, short corner jumper, good. Sam Lair, stop it. 25 points for Sam. Feeling it here tonight. Lead back out to 18. This is Ebert, 6:39 to go. Over to Caney. Bounce pass to Pickering. Vikings still doubling down on McCarty. Looked like Lair maybe stepped on someone's foot. He came up a little gimpy there. He's going to stay out there. Fleischman fires up a three. This one misses. Fought for, and I think it's going to stay with Campbellsport. No, going to say it was last off Pickering. And Pendowski's going to come in and replace Ebert. And Ebert's going to get himself a rare break here for at least a couple of minutes. Here's Gannon Schwartz into the front court. Finds Noah Walta. Walta back to Schwartz. There's Lair, the hot hand for the Vikings. Oh, that's a dangerous pass. Walta collects. Almost looked like he carried that. Doesn't matter. Finished at the rim. Good finish by Noah Walta as he's nearing the 20-point mark tonight. And it's been all Walta and Lair tonight. Only 2 points from their leading scorer, Noah Gensler, who normally averages 18 points a night. He's sitting on the bench with 3 fouls, and I'm guessing Coach Nell isn't going to bring him out unless he absolutely needs him. Caney fires up a 3, misses. Skying for the rebound is Max Huntsman. He's had to play more minutes here tonight, as has Cole Wiedmeyer. Both have done a nice job. Sam Lair, corner 3. No. Shot fake. Back to Schwartz. Back to Lair. High post Wiedmeyer. Finds Walta. Good ball movement. Quick ball movement from the Vikings. Ends up with Lair wide open for 3. Misses it. Offensive rebound to Walta. Walta, middle of the paint, tries to shovel it to Cole Wiedmeyer, and he saves it straight to Pickering. Pickering slows things down, and Caney's going to trot across the Viking logo into the front court. He'll initiate the offense there. 5 minutes and 13 seconds left here tonight. Down the lane goes Fleischman, and he's fouled by Max Huntsman. And I guess if you're going to give Max some props there, at least you're making him earn it from the free throw line, although it didn't look like it was going to fall for an and one. But a nice job for Max to stand in front of that and dole out a little contact there. And obviously it was a good decision as Fleischman misses the front end of the trip. And the third foul, by the way, there on Max Huntsman. 5:07 to play. Second free throw misses short. Tipped by McCarty, and another offensive possession that was earned by McCarty. Caleb Smith got the offensive board, but it was McCarty that allowed it to happen. That misses from Ebert. Offensive rebound Fleischman, and the Vikings can't clear it, and it's a free 2 points for Campbellsport when everything's all said and done. Lead still for the Vikings is 18 points. They had it at 20 there for a second. 65-47, 4:43 to play. Noah Gensler, at the scorer's table to check back in for the Vikings with his 3 fouls. Here's Gannon Schwartz. Rips a pass near side. Whoa, Sam Lair lost control of it, and he's going to pick up a foul. Frustration foul there from Sam, and it's going to send Aiden Fleischman to the free throw line. Sam Lair normally so sure-handed. That time could could not control it. So it's 1-1 bonus. One shot for Aiden Fleischman. Couple of rhythm dribbles, and that misses, so no bonus for Fleischman. Rebound for Lair, gives it to Walta, gives it to Gensler. Noah Gensler! Blocking foul on Caney. Caney cannot believe it. He just said how about 3 times. That would have been the 4th foul on Noah Gensler. Instead, it's the 3rd foul on Cole Caney. And Caney goes over to get an explanation. Not so sure he agrees with the explanation that he just got. But that's a mature thing to do from the senior is not show the ref up. And he didn't. He just simply asked how. And then went and had a conversation. I wish more players would deal with it that way. Sam Lair tries to get the offensive rebound, shovels it, though, straight to Mitchell McCarty. McCarty running the floor, has that tipped away. Fleischman collects over in the right corner. Here's Ebert, Fleischman, Smith, corner Caney, McCarty. McCarty through a double team once again. Fleischman, big 3 here if he can hit it. It comes up short. Rebound collected by Chop Simmons, and he's fouled by Mitchell McCarty. Chop will go to the free throw line, 1-1 bonus. So he'll shoot 1. Just the second on McCarty, no worries there for him. Chop tonight is 1 of 2 from the charity stripe. Very flat shot that Chop has and misses that one. He's 1 for 3 from the line tonight. Rebound to McCarty, and neither team has scored in about the last minute or so, maybe a little bit more than a minute. McCarty's going to try a 3. This one misses deep. Rebound from Gensler. He skied for it. Gannon Schwartz released on the shot, and he's ahead of everyone else and got blocked. Nice play by Cole Caney. Oh, what a play. Hustling back, full sprint, got up and finished the block. Down underneath, McCarty is going to head back to the free throw line. And the foul that time is on Gannon Schwartz. That's a good call. I thought they were going to maybe misidentify there again and get the man who's straight up and down. Gensler was up and down, but Gannon Schwartz got his hand caught in the cookie jar that time, trying to double down on McCarty. McCarty makes the front end. So 65-48, 17-point Viking lead. With 3 minutes and 34 seconds left, 8 fouls for both of these teams. Second free throw is good from McCarty. He is now 6 of 8 from the free throw line. And we'll give you the rest of his statistics here in just a second. Hang with me here. There's a lot of little marks here I got to add up for Mitchell McCarty. He is something else. I got McCarty for 22, which would normally be a game-high score, but not tonight. Sam Lair has hit 10 shots, 5 twos, 5 threes. That's 25 points for Sam. And he is by far the leading scorer for the Vikings and is the game-high scorer, even a few more than the aforementioned Mitchell McCarty. Noah Waltz has also hit 4 threes. He's got 12 points on threes. He's got a couple of twos and a pair of free throws as well. She's up to 18 points as Noah Walta. A couple points for Max Huntsman, one for Chop Simmons. Andy Simon, haven't seen him here in this second half. We saw, like I said, we saw a lot of Cole Wiedmeyer and a lot of Max Huntsman. They did very well in some extended work and in a spot where they were asked to do things that they haven't really been asked to do all season long necessarily, and have done a really nice job, or did a really nice job here in that spot. They're going to try to double here and trap Gannon Schwartz. Schwartz is just 5'9", so that's the guy you want to try to do that. And Gensler just threw it away into the stands. It was a good play. Tell you what, you draw that up in the timeout and beautifully run. Gensler, kind of a zigzag cut to the ball, got it, and then a backdoor release from Sam Lair, and they'd have had a fast break opportunity. Here's McCarty, McCarty going straight at Chop. Chop straight up and down. He's got 4 fouls, can't do anything else. 24 points for Mitchell McCarty. Here is Schwartz. Finds Walta. Walta to Gensler. Gensler's got to get out of that corner. Almost turned it over again, and a timeout. Yeah, timeout. Okay. Thought they were going to get a foul there, but instead of timeout, that's a good call. I was going to say, where was there a foul there? But no, it was Coach Nell who was very quick to get that timeout called. Right on cue. 14-point lead for the Vikings, 65-51. Vikings able to do this. I'm just going to repeat this. I said it a couple of minutes ago, but doing this with just a 2-point outing from their leading scorer, Noah Gensler, who has had a tough defensive matchup. He's had to go against Mitchell McCarty, and both guys that have had to guard McCarty tonight have combined for 7 fouls, 4 for Chop Simmons, 3 for Noah Gensler, and that's part of what took Gensler out of this game here early on. He's had to spend part of it on the bench with the fouls, but then also, just the extra effort that has to be exerted on that defensive side of the court when you got to deal with someone like Mitchell McCarty. Tell you what, the Vikings, this is about the 3rd or 4th team they've had to deal with multiple 6'4+ players, and I think they're starting to figure out how to do that. So this is interesting. Coming out of the timeout, Campbellsport is going to match up man-to-man in the half court. Now they're going to trap off of it. Couple of players trailing Sam Lair. Neither one stayed with him. Lair is free right now. Schwartz has to be careful. Throws that one away. Stolen by McCarty. Shovels it up ahead to Caney. Caney cross-court pass, and a foul there. Noah Gensler picks up his 4th foul. Aiden Fleischman will go to the free throw line. Not a bad idea there from Gensler, but if you're going to swat at the ball, you best get it when you have 3 fouls, and this is the 9th team foul, so everything for the Cougars from here on out will be 2 shots because that was a shooting foul. First one from Fleischman misses. He's 0 for 4 from the line tonight. Vikings clinging. I shouldn't say clinging because it's still 14 points, but it just does feel like clinging, and it's going to all the way till the end when you are looking for your first conference win and your 3rd win on the season. Vikings lead it by 13 after that one goes down. Schwartz is going to try to key it in. Looks for Gensler, finds Gensler. Gensler has Walta. Here's Noah Walta. Chop Simmons, cross-court pass. Shot fake from Lair. Finishes at the rim. Ooh, that was a little bit more. That one may just stop. Lair's got 27. Viking lead back out to 15. McCarty catches. Gets to the paint. Gets it knocked out and off his own thigh, and it's going to stay with the. Yeah, check that. Go over to the Vikings. The 5'9" Gannon Schwartz is asked to key it in here. Finds Gensler. Not bad when you can throw it up to your wide receiver. Here's Noah Gensler. Gets it up to Lair. And Walta. Bounce pass through the pressure to Schwartz, who gets it to Gensler. Noah finds Chop in the corner. And that's the one they want to foul. Chop Simmons is the player. As soon as he got it, there was a shout from the bench saying he's the one. And they're right. The other 4 players on the floor for the Vikings shoot above 70% from the free throw line. Chop is just 1 for 3 from the line tonight, and he's a 41.2% shooter. And it doesn't get much better when you go to the bench for the Vikings from a free throw shooting percentage standpoint. So actually Chop Simmons going to be relied on for the Vikings. When he gets the ball, he's most likely going to get fouled. Can he make the free throws? He makes the front end there. The rest of the way for the Vikings is going to be 2 shots. And the second one for Chop is good. 2 big free throws for Chop Simmons. He's now 3 for 5 from the free throw line, and the lead is back up to 17. Campbellsport rolls the ball. Caney collects there. Bounce pass down to Fleischman. Shovels it out to Pickering, who has the ball. A couple of shot fakes. Gets it out to Caney. Caney crosses once, crosses twice down the lane. Floater good. Good take by Cole Caney. But, just as the Vikings have done it without Noah Gensler, how about Campbellsport having to do it without Cole Caney? That's just his first 2 points of the evening. We'll see if that was on Caney. I believe I couldn't see if it was a 1, a 2, or a 3. No, just number 12, Jordan Ebert, because that would have been 4 on Caney. Instead, it's just the second on Jordan Ebert. chance from the free throw line for Noah Gensler, and Gensler is 0 for 3 here tonight. He shoots it at a 75% clip, and that was not a small sample size. He was 24 of 28 from the free throw line was Noah Gensler. And the second free throw is no good. I'll tell you what, he's fading away from the free throw line there. Step into it. Not step into it, but keep your momentum going forward. Caney misses a bunny. Rebound down to Gensler. And Lair, yeah, you could almost see it going off in his mind. He steps out, steps through, tipped out of bounds, and stays with the Vikings. Thought he was going to go down the paint. I'm thinking to myself, just pull it out, Sam. And he did the right thing, did Sam Lair. So Schwartz is going to key it in, finds Sam in the backcourt, steps through, double team coming, finds Simmons. Simmons down to Walton. Nice play by Chop to get rid of that ball as the double team was coming to foul him, and Gensler is going to go back to the free throw line. And just a quick conversation there with Coach Schnell. I think Campbellsport now perfectly content to foul Gensler as well. Obviously, you know, you do your homework and you foul Chop Simmons from a statistical standpoint, from a historical standpoint, but you can't, I mean, you watch Gensler go 0 for 4, maybe now you start there. Gensler's now 0 for 5 from the free throw line. 15-point deficit for the Cougars that they're trying to erase in just a minute and 20 seconds. Seems unlikely as Fleischman takes a seat. There you go. Noah Gensler, 6th time is the charm. We'll see if Noah Walta comes up. Yep, just makes Caney pick the ball up with 1:20. Down to the corner. 3-ball on the way. That comes up short. Rebound down to Gensler, and he's fouled. So that took off just 7 seconds off the clock. And the lead for the Vikings is still 16 points. And Cody Colts coming into the game, I think, from Coach Elliott, this may be the white flag time, so to speak, that the phrase that you sometimes hear. And Gensler hits the front end this time. 2 for 7 from the free throw line. And coming out is Pickering and Ebert. But McCarty remains, as does Caney. So 3 of the starters have taken a seat now for Campbellsport, but a couple of them still out there. Gensler now has hit 3 straight from the free throw line. 1 minute and 13 seconds left in the game. Caney going to wait to pick it up till just about the tip of the horn on the Viking logo. Down the lane here goes Colts. And rebound fought for there, tied up, goes back to the Vikings. Well, I'll tell you what, this has been a very impressive performance from WLA here tonight. A team that hasn't had much go right for them, quite frankly, in the scope of this basketball season. And is this the game that allows you to start turning the corner as both Caney and McCarty take a final seat tonight, and the Vikings lead by 18. That's kind of it, I would assume. Lair into the front court with 1 minute left in the ball game behind the back dribble. Campbellsport's still going to pressure, but I'm not sure they're going to foul anymore. Here's Lair. Lair rips through a couple of times. Down to the corner with Gensler. Chops Simmons at the high post. Back down to Gensler. Noah's going to drive baseline. Keeps control of it. Nice job, Noah Gensler. Walta's got it now on the left wing. 42-41 counting down here in this final possession, or, well, what we would assume is our final possession here for the Vikings. But Coach Elliott still wants his team to pressure here and get up strong, try to force a turnover. Schwartz looks to Lair, back out to Schwartz, down to Gensler. Gensler thought about the 3 big kind of NBA 2K looking shot fake that time. Walta catches in the corner. And the Vikings last 10 seconds. The Vikings are going to get this done. First conference win of the season, and it's a big one. The Campbellsport Cougars came in tied for 2nd place in the conference, but for the 2nd time this season in consecutive games, the Cougars are going to lose in the Flyway. Their last game was a 62-59 loss to Amro. And now they come here to WLA and lose by 18, 72-54, a final score here tonight. It was a big 11-0 run that extended this from just a 7-point Viking lead all the way out to an 18-point Viking lead, and really got things rolling for the Vikings in a big way. And that was a big deal for the Vikings in the midst of that second half. Get you some final numbers here before we get out of it. Tell you the rest of the week. We will be along Thursday night against Oakfield. Hope you'll tune in for that one. We'll talk to Kiara Shea, talk about her 1,000 points that she scored in her WLA career. That's on Thursday. The girls take on Oakfield. Oakfield's a good team now, so that's one I think you're going to want to tune in for. And then on Friday, North Fond du Lac and WLA on the boys basketball side of things are going to get after it. That's on Friday night, so hope you'll be around for that one. I won't be along for that. I'm doing PA for that one. But hope you'll stick around or join us on Friday. Thought that might be a couple of teams looking for their first win, but the Vikings came to play here tonight, and they earned their first win of the conference season. Give you some final numbers. 2 points for Cole Caney, and the Vikings did a nice job on him, and the zone really did not give Caney a ton of opportunities to get into the paint here tonight. Jordan Ebert had 7 points tonight. A couple of points in the second half. He had 5 at halftime. Very quiet night for him as well. Usually averages 13 and averaged just 7 this evening. Aiden Fleischman tonight had 8 points, 3 of them coming here in the second half. Decent night for Aiden Fleischman, above his season average, or pretty much right at it, but slightly above it. Ethan Pickering came out of nowhere tonight and had 13 points. Averages usually just 3, so 10 above his season average for the Cougars. And then, obviously, Mitchell McCarty was his usual spectacular self for the Cougars, and we'll get you a final count here really quickly. 24 points for Mitchell McCarty as his potential Player of the Year bid continues here in the Flyway Conference. A nice night for him, and I'll tell you what, over the last couple of years have had a lot of fun calling Campbellsport games, and in large part Mitchell McCarty was a big reason for that the last couple of years. So certainly wish him all the best on his future endeavors after his careers at Campbellsport. It was just a heck of a football player, and then his basketball statistics speak for themselves. Over on the Viking side of things, Max Huntsman had 2 points, 3 for Chop Simmons, 3 for Andy Simon, 2 for Cole Wiedmeyer, and 5 points for Noah Gensler. After that, you got to go down to Gannon Schwartz, and Gannon had 12 for the Vikings. It was quiet at times for him. He started out a little bit rough from the field, but he was able to respond and played extremely well down the stretch, did the freshman Gannon Schwartz. And then Noah Walta, who had 7 points at halftime and was able to find another 11 in the second half. He finished with 18 points, did Noah Walta. Leading scorer of the night for all players was 27 points. That was Sam Lair. Lair just with an outburst here tonight. He hit 5 threes. I mean, it looked like a Riley Lair performance from a couple years back on the girls' side of things. Just terrific from Sam. He hit 5 threes, 6 twos, 11 field goals that Sam made tonight. Didn't get to the free throw line, didn't need it. Finished with 27. So 27 for him, 18 Waltz, 12 Gannon Schwartz. Those were the 3 leading scorers for the Vikings. 24 for McCarty, 13 for Pickering, and 8 for Fleischman. That was the leading scorers for Campbellsport. So what does that do for the Flyway standings? Obviously not knowing what else is going on. It did sound like Mayville was going to pick up loss number 2 in the conference season tonight over at Springs. I don't have any update on that, but Springs would move to 5-0. Campbellsport and Mayville both falling to 3-2. Don't know who Amaro has tonight. WLA 1-4 on the conference season and 3-8 overall. We told you Campbellsport 3-2. They're 8-2 overall on the season are the Cougars. Thanks for joining us tonight. Jordan King saying so long. Thanks for riding along with us this evening. Vikings get a win, 72-54, behind a big night from Sam Lair. Hope you'll be with us on Thursday as the Lady Vikings, take on the Oakfield Oaks. Should be a good one, and we'll see you then. Have a good night.